Hey y'all, happy Thursday. About to have a good time. That's basically it. Hey y'all, welcome back to my page. Yes, everyone, my studio audience, say hello, and hello to you. My name is Timothy DuWhite, and welcome back if you're returning, and hello if this is your first time. These are the DuWhite pages, and you see, like, my whole thing is why my partner, the one that I love, ain't tell me that I had them little stains on this here sweater before I went to record, right? Like, that's my whole thing. That's all I have questions about, is why I'm out here in love, have somebody I'm married to that won't even let me know that I got stains on my little sweater before I record. You know what? But that's okay, because that just shows that I eats well, okay? I eats well and I eats plentiful, okay? So we just gonna let that rock. And today I'm gonna do my first little book haul here on my page, so I'm excited for that. And I'm gonna do a book haul dedicated specifically to Black authors who dive and like play with and imagine in sci-fi, the science fiction realm, as well as just generally speculative fiction Black authors. It's just gonna basically be giving you suggestions. I'm just gonna show y'all what books I got from Black science fiction. Okay, what you saying, Tim? Okay, here we are. So today I'm gonna do a little book haul, all surrounding Black authors who write in the genre of science fiction or speculative fiction. And I'm really excited to do this particular haul for you all, because I think Black people writing about the future is just so important, honestly. Like, I mean, for one, what I think a lot of these authors that I'm gonna be showing you are doing is that they're imagining a future in which Black people still exist and we're still a part of, which is like so important. Like, let's just keep putting ourselves in the future, y'all. Even though everyone try to pretend like we're not gonna make it there, but we is. I have 12 books to go through. I'm not gonna have, I'm not doing any super long explanation of these books because I don't want this video to be super long. And also because I haven't read a lot of these, because, you know, whatever. I actually got a lot of these books because I plan to read them to do some research, because I'm planning to do my own little book project. Holler at me. You'll see that in the Black future sometime. I'm really excited to share these books in particular because they're not necessarily titles that are widely popular or like on many people's lists. I really kind of dug deep into finding these titles and these particular authors. Some of them might seem familiar, but I think a lot of them might not be. And I hope that this is a place where you discover your next like favorite author and next favorite book. Also, I hope I'm looking cute. I got this little hoodie on because I didn't feel like doing the whole hair situation today, and I feel like I give y'all a little, like, you know, a little thug passion. Yeah, a little thug passion for today, you feel me? So we're gonna do that. With that said, the first book I'd like to share is Escape from Beckyville, Tales of Race, Hair, and Rage by Nicole D. Sconiers. Check it out. Yes. So I haven't read this one yet, but I did read like the very first like paragraph of the first story. It's like a bunch of short stories featuring different Black women dealing with various different kind of like horrific like experiences that Black women could deal with. So basically there's like a story, I believe, about a Black woman who is trying to run away from a whole bunch of Beckys that's trying to take her hair. Basically just a book full of short stories about Black women in different scenarios that they could quite possibly have to deal with, but it's just like amplified to a higher degree. And yeah, I'm really hyped to get into this one. The next book is The Dome by Nova Sparks. Get into it. So this one, I haven't read this one either. Basically, it's about the Earth is apparently about to explode or whatever. And right before the Earth explodes, these aliens come and like swoop up a bunch of like a whole community of like people, whatever, and bring them to another planet. And they live inside this dome. And in the dome is basically like this sort of like suburban neighborhood. Like it kind of looks like Earth. It's like just like suburban neighborhood. Like it looks kind of like regular living, but within like living in this dome looms this like fear of like what exactly is going on. Like why do these aliens even pick us up? And it follows a black father and daughter who are just basically living in this dome, waiting for the other shoe to drop. So yeah, that's what this one is about. The Dome by Nova Sparks. All right, the next one I have to share is called The Weight of Stars by K. Ancrum. Get into that. The Weight of Stars by K. Ancrum. I haven't read this one either, but this one is about this young black girl who sort of like dreams about like traveling in the stars or whatever. Like this is like a dream she has all the time. And she meets this girl named Alexandria who like lost her, she thought she lost her mother, but she ends up finding out that her mother actually like decided to like volunteer to go on this sort of mission into outer space, and she never knew this. So basically the main character Ryan is helping Alexandria as they try to like communicate with her mother by different radio signals to talk to her mother. So yeah, the whole story is basically Ryan, this main character who dreams of like being in space, trying to help her new friend Alexandria speak to her mother who's in outer space somewhere. And also, I believe that Ryan and Alexandra start to build like a sort of like sapphic relationship amongst this time too. So yes, that's what this is about, The Weight of Stars. All right, this next book I have that I hauled is actually becoming a little bit more popular, I find, amongst booktube situations. It's called The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. Get into it. I love this cover. So in this world, multiverse is like possible. Like folks are able to travel into like different sort of worlds and like timelines. However, you're not able to travel into a different like universe or a different world that your counterpart is still alive in. So the only way you'll be able to travel to an alternate universe is if the you that lives there is already dead. And we follow our main character who actually all of her like alternative universe identities have died, so she's able to travel throughout all the different universes with no problem. And by doing that, she actually starts to learn things about the different universes, about just time and space, that kind of unlocks a lot of different like menacing questions. So yeah, I heard a lot of good things about this, and I love the concept of it, so I'm really hyped to get into it. Yes. So the next book I have is The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor Lavalle. So I actually did read this one, and I really loved it. It's also super short. It's like only 145 pages. It's like a really easy short read. So in this, we follow our main character by the name of Thomas, who is actually, he's pretty much like a petty thief and like con man. So he just kind of cons people and stuff like that. And basically where we start off in the story is he was hired by this white witch to steal this book and bring it to her. But he kind of caught on that like this book has more significance than she actually told him. So he stole a page out of it with the hopes that she won't be able to like make use of its entire power. And from that, so much like just a lot of like mayhem follows and enters his life after making that decision. And what I love about this book is that it's really a conversation about like sorcery and magic, how sorcery and magic interacts with Black people as opposed to how it does for white folks. And I think this is a great meditation on like what Black magic actually means and like how it exists in a world where Black people are oppressed. And I just really I love this book so much. And this is very like definitely speculative. It's not like science fiction in that it like focuses on technology as far as like computerized technology, but more so the technology of like spiritualness and like yeah, the technologies of spirit. So yeah, I really loved Black Tom. So the next book I have for you all is called Elysium by Jennifer Marie Brissett. I don't really know, I don't know what this book is about, and I keep trying to find like write-ups that explain exactly what it is about. Well, I bought it because it was a Black author and it's like labeled science fiction. So I was like, that's all I really needed. But for what I got from it, basically this is a sort of dystopian world in which these two characters are like having this love story. Yeah, it's basically like a love story within this dystopian world where it's said that like a sort of computer program has sort of like is what ripped the world apart. And these two characters who are in love and I believe it's like a straight love story between the two Black characters, are just trying to survive within this like dystopian, computer ravaged world, and just trying to like, you know, be Black and live and all that good stuff. So yes, it has a lot of like outstanding write-ups, but like as far as like people suggesting it, but it doesn't have a lot of like actual like what's it about, you feel me? But it's Black and it's science fiction, and that's all I needed, so get into it. So the next book I have is Triangulum by Masande Ntshanga, and I can get into that. It's kind of hard to see, my little thing isn't helping. So this book is about an astronomer who gets a mysterious manuscript entitled Triangulum, which basically posits that the world will end in the next 10 years. And the whole book follows the astronomer reading the manuscript and trying to find how, first of all, where it came from, and also how they'll be able to stop the predictions that the manuscript persists. So yeah, that's this book. So the next book I'd like to share is The Summer Prince by Alaya Dawn Johnson. So this book takes place in a futuristic Brazil, following our main character June, who is this young Black girl artist who meets this guy Enki, who she also sees as an artist, though he I think more readily describes himself as sort of like an activist. But basically this story is about them creating art and living their lives within futuristic Brazil, while also trying to push the limits of the sort of restrictions that have been placed on their community as it relates to new technologies in the community. There's been like sort of like a ban around new technologies that they are working to like push the limits of for their community. So yeah, again, I don't really know much about this book either, but again, I saw Black, I saw Sci-Fi, and again, I'm working on this sort of research project, so I want to read everything I possibly can, so this was definitely on my list. All right, so the next book I'd like to share is Friday Black by Nana Kwame Adeji-Brenya. This one you actually might have seen because it has been doing pretty well amongst like all the lists. I think it's also a New York Times bestseller, so that is also where you might have seen it. This is a book of short stories that explores the realities and like the complexities of being a Black man through the speculative lens. There's a bunch of different stories. One's called Zimmerland, which of course is a reference to that horrible man that I'm not going to speak about. But yeah, this is basically just a bunch of different short stories that explore identity and the realities of being Black and male in this horrible, horrible, horrible world and country. The next one I'd like to share is called The Good Luck Girls by Charlotte Nicole Davis. In this book, we follow a group of girls who were captured and held prisoner in this place called the Welcome House, which is basically where girls who have these sort of markings, which you can see in the cover maybe, it's like a marking right here. Basically, girls with that marking are brought into this Welcome House because they're seen as being like cursed. And the story takes flight when one of the girls kills one of the captors, and all the rest of the girls decide to, like, of course, flee. And this is basically a journey story of them trying to find their freedom and trying to, like, figure out what living looks like on their own outside of captivity. Yeah, I believe this is YA. So I am hyped to read more like Black speculative, like, science fiction work geared towards the young adult audience, because I think that gives another layer to what Black folks will look like in the future. So yeah, I mean, I'm hyped to get into this one as well. So next book I have to share is After the Flare by Deji, Bryce, Olukotun. Check it out. Sorry for the glare. This book takes place after a solar flare has sort of like destabilized a lot of the Earth. The flare just sort of like destroyed and like messed up a lot of technology and has lent a lot of people open to like cyber attacks, and basically it became warfare after this solar flare sort of like disoriented a lot of the stability of what we knew life and technology and computer and living to be. Only space station that is fully operational is in Nigeria, and it's up to our main character Kwesi to do everything he can to be able to bring back one of his co-workers who was stranded on another planet when the solar flare occurred. So it's basically just a story of Kwesi trying to do whatever he can to retrieve his co-worker and also to sort of like remedy what is happening within the world. So yeah, this is actually, and I didn't even know this before. I just realized that literally 2 seconds ago. This is actually a sequel, but I'm not sure if you have to read the first one, but I wouldn't know because I haven't read this one or the first one. But this is a sequel, and the very first book is Nigerians in Space, so I definitely want to check that out. And I plan to do a wrap up of a lot of these books once I get into reading them, so I can give further explanations on what all these are about. So, but for now, this is what I got to show y'all. Okay. So my final book I like to share with you all is The Record Keeper by Agnes Gomillion. So again, I haven't read this one yet, but this one follows after World War III. The world, as we know, is basically split into ruins, right? Like basically this last World War III ruined and like really decimated the world. So as a means to like keep surviving, everyone basically decided to like live by a certain amount, like a particular like set rules in order to like just survive. But our main character, Erika, who is this young Black girl who starts to learn more and more about the rules in which that were set to keep them safe, and realize that a lot of what they're trying to do as a means to like withhold the peace is actually underhanded, and there's like a larger scheme taking place. This also takes place, of course, in the future. We're talking about World War III. Basically, what Erika is trying to let us know is that what they supposedly had planned for keeping the peace is actually just piece of a larger puzzle that they're trying to complete without anyone else knowing. And we follow this story trying to learn what that is. So yeah. All right, so that was all the books I had to share, whatever. If there's any sci-fi from a Black author you think I should know about, please leave it in the comments. I am so like thirsty to learn more about this genre from our people. In particular from like names and authors that are not like readily grabbed at, that are like the big names. I really didn't pick like super big names to share. I still have like a lot of books on my shelves that I could have possibly took out, but I really wanted this to be like authors and books that are not like super out there yet. So yeah, I hope you're able to find a new author that you mess with. I hope you're able to find like a title that seems interesting to you that you'd never heard of. So yeah, that is, that's the video. That's it. So thank you all for coming again. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next Thursday. Bye.